Welcome in, everybody, to the TK Pod. My name is Tyler Kluver. I was once a Division I football player. I am now a podcaster, fitness coach, and CrossFit athlete, doing all of that as a husband and father of two. This show is an audio journal, a spot for me to vent or ramble about thoughts I have relating to fitness and health, my personal competitive aspirations, business, entrepreneurship, and more. I hope that each show can provide one small bit of value for you, the listener. Regardless, I'm glad you're here. Let's have a day. Let's go. All right, hopefully you can hear me, and hopefully everybody's doing fantastic on this Tuesday, March 24th, right in the middle of March Madness, so that's fun. If you're a sports person, which you likely are if you're listening to this podcast. Also, if you happen to be watching this episode, I'm not wearing a shirt. Said fuck it, don't care. Basement is cold usually, so I'm wearing a sweatshirt on most of these podcasts when I record, but did a little morning, I wouldn't call it a ruck, but it was an uphill walk on the treadmill, 25 minutes, and I was sweating. So body was a little overheated, just a little warm, and shirt off, tops off for the boys and the girls, everyone involved. Welcome to the TK Pod. We haven't had one of these in 2 weeks. Completely, and this is sort of how my mind works, it's very much so on 2 to 3 day windows. Leave a comment. Is that how your brain works? Are you this far out? Who knows? My wife and I certainly, especially once we had kids, had to start scheduling really like the month. So on the side of the refrigerator upstairs, there's like a little calendar whiteboard that we write down appointments, weekend plans, trips, whatever it may be. So if I look at that calendar, I understand that, we have certain stuff. But in my brain, if I'm just to pull from that database of neurons and cells, I really only remember and think about things in like 2 to 3 day periods. And so last time we did this podcast would have been after the second week of the Open. It was 2 weeks ago. So I believe, or it might have even been, it was after the second week of the Open. We were just about to hit the third week of the Open. And I was talking and presenting myself as if there was going to be a podcast last week to recap that Open, and completely forgot that I was going on a week-long Florida family vacation, and there was no plan at all to podcast during that. And so the day we left for Florida was Monday, the last day to submit your final week of the Open scores, and things got finalized. The Open concluded. And obviously, those who qualified, it wasn't a consideration or a worry at all this year compared to last year. But, you got your final placing, and then top 25% move on to quarterfinals. And obviously, we are a part of that. We did not do better this year relative to worldwide ranking, relative to last year. First time in a while. There's probably a couple reasons for that. The Open, for a long time, was decreasing in participation. So theoretically, smaller field, less competition. If you continue to do it and sign up year after year, that right there alone provides you an opportunity to increase your worldwide ranking just because of less people you're fighting against. This was the first year in a while where that Open participation jumped significantly in the positive direction. And so bigger field, more people to compete against. Last year I got something like 820th in the world in the worldwide Open. Very, very good for me. Probably like sort of, I wouldn't say my cap. This opens up a whole other conversation that we've kind of brushed up against several times on the topic of how long can I do this? How long am I going to continue to try and stay at the top, at this level, at this fitness? How long will I care and continue to sign up? But I think through the next few years, if I continue to do it at, train, not even necessarily at the level I'm at right now, but just at the level at which I like to. I think I don't know if top 500 is doable, but certainly in the 500 to 1,000 range is more than doable for me in the open, which brings up another conversation of what kind of workouts come out in the open. This year, a little bit of an outlier, but in general, you're not going to see a lot of skill in the open. This year, the most skill you saw was in the second week with the ring muscle ups, which were at the end of the workout. Um, no handstand walking, no handstand push ups, which those do occasionally make their way in every once in a while. It's rarely tested in very high volume. Um, so little skill, right? Or um, the evolutions of certain skills, right? Pull ups to all the way to bar muscle ups. Those get tested, but in very small quantities, right? And some of the really skilled stuff doesn't get tested as much. And then the weights specifically, which for your boy is probably a strength. At this point, my strength is probably a strength, especially relative to your worldwide open field. Um, there's a lot of people who genetically or naturally have um, are much closer to me in lungs or just pure cardio capacity. But when it comes to strength, and again the skill that I mentioned before, that's where I separate. And so when those things don't get really tested, you got 20 ring muscle ups, which even then, that's quite literally my worst skill. Working on them, but my worst skill. Only to say that I wasn't going to separate from people there. And then the heaviest barbell that we lifted was 135 pounds in this last week. We'll do a very short recap on the last week of the Open. 135-pound cleans, 135-pound thrusters. If you got there, right? Which I guess again for the best you're going to. Uh, yeah, just not a lot of like, hey, are you strong or are you super skilled? Which are parts of fitness. That leads you to the Worldwide Open having a slight, sometimes more than slight cardio bias. How many times can you go around in a circle between 3 or 4 or 5 movements? And that's just not my jam. What was positive for me this year was there was nothing like out around that 20-minute time frame. One of the workouts was 10 minutes, one of them was 14 minutes, and the other was 15 minutes. So medium length, which is good. I prefer shorter to medium. Definitely don't love long. Working on it. All that to say, um, I ended up in like 1,000. It sucks because I wanted to be top 1,000, but 1,087th place, 1,086th place. So just outside the top 1,000 in the world out of 100 and almost 30,000 men that did this, top 1%. So if we were amongst the rules of last year where the top 1% moved on to that online quarters, I would have made it again still. That's good. Top 1% is a soft sort of barrier that I would like to cross or be ahead of. You'd always like to improve. We did not. Again, a million things that could have gone into that. Bigger sample size, the way the workouts came out, blah blah blah. In the grand scheme of things, it was a very like similar placing. Kind of just stayed the same. Um, but we'll take it. Another reason why, and this is definitely a factor, is I only redid one of the workouts. I redid the second workout, and the only reason I did was because I mentally was pissed the first time I did it that I was not under 10 minutes. And so I only redid it to go, what was it? 12 seconds faster, 11 seconds faster. Um, and just slip in under 10. It almost had no effect on my leaderboard placement. I didn't redo the first one, which I felt like I could have done. I could have gotten some significant uh, increase in placement there. Didn't do the third one, which was a shitload of burpees, cleans, and thrusters, which isn't horrible for me. Again, would prefer heavier. Think I could have probably done another 10 or 15 reps on that workout as well. If I redo 1 and 3 and I get 10 extra reps in each workout, I'm top 1,000. I might even push a spot where, depending on how well I did on the redos, I was pushing that place from last year, maybe top 800. Because as you get towards the top there, every point matters, right? Really anywhere on the leaderboard. So that's the wrap up. Good open. Did not place any emphasis on it this year. And sort of, the non redos reflects that. Quarterfinals is now, the workouts are actually live. They were announced yesterday, Monday, and start this week. Score submission window starts on Thursday, middle of the day, and runs through Monday. It's about a 5-day competition. And those workouts are already released. So we'll go over those in a second. But kind of to just wrap up the open, I feel good about it. Again, I've got the Monster Games countdown on my whiteboard right behind the computer screen here. 122 days. We are completely segmenting and kind of building our training day after day, phase after phase over that. It's really down to about 4 months now. It's exactly 4 months from today that I'm recording this is when day one of that competition will be, July 24th. And the next 122 days are built to build and peak for that competition, which means, right now we're 4 months out. We're down the mountain as far as our fitness level goes, and that's been the plan since October, November. When I decided that this was going to be the thing for 2026. Not an excuse of why we didn't do better in the open, but we are where we are. Quarters is back this year after being gone for 2025. It was a thing from 21 through 24. Made quarters every year, only participated in 3 of them because I got hurt in 21. And quarters is a fun opportunity for me, to have that skill increase a little bit, have those style of workouts, be a little bit more well-rounded, and have that weight increase a little bit. We'll go through what those workouts are here and just briefly talk about it. But as far as anything else goes, we'll finish with with a little quarters preview here. But as far as anything else goes, everything's going according to plan. Technically supposed to be on deload week right now, training wise, as the training program that I'm following is not prioritizing, but they worked around the quarterfinals to try and deload and peak for this weekend, a little mini peak to be prepped and ready, primed maybe is a better word. And so this is supposed to be a deload week, the last 5 days really. Yesterday, though, after being on vacation kind of the week before that was programmed, I kind of naturally deloaded. All I had was dumbbells. I didn't want to drive to an affiliate and try and get a workout in, try and drive away from the family, spend extra time away from vacation. So I got in about 75 minutes a day. Had dumbbells up to 75s, couple machines in there, a treadmill. I ran outside one day. We got in some good fitness enough to maintain and really, deload. And so Monday, Tuesday, yesterday and today, tomorrow will be just a pure zone 2 kind of flush, like an hour on the bike Peloton. Today and yesterday, my goal is to low volume, high intensity, touch some heavier weight, touch some high heart rate, some sprints, just to stay primed for Thursday when we complete the 4 workouts that I'm about to talk about. all of that conversation started with, I'm feeling good. An example of that was yesterday I PR'd my jerk, my split jerk. I've had a lot of PRs in the last calendar year, going back to last summer when I got back into working out when the baby boy was born. Um, Most of them, I mean, you don't usually talk about like cardio PRs, I guess. Your mile time or your 2K row. You're just not testing those a lot. I wouldn't be PRing those right now anyway. But I will say I'm sort of, if you look at the metrics of my zone 2 sessions, the output for those while maintaining the same heart rate is getting bigger. So the engine base is, we're building, it's working. But yeah, last summer I had since last summer to now, I've had a deadlift PR, a power clean PR, a snatch PR. I think I tied or 5-pound PR'd my back squat. And then yesterday I PR'd my jerk at 350. And so, everything is trending in the right direction. I'd also say that probably right now, skill wise, I've never been able to do more chest to bar pull ups. I've never been able to, handle as much ring muscle up volume or bar muscle up volume as I can right now. They're still not impressive or super competitive by any means, but they're better than they've ever been. Toe to bars is certainly as good as it's ever been. Um, and yeah, everything else is kind of staying steady. So we're in a really good spot as we look exactly 4 months ahead to the Monster Games. We'll talk more about how we're prepping for the Monster Games specifically and the strategy behind that as we move forward. But we are going to share the screen quickly and go over the quarterfinal workouts that were released yesterday. Again, this is interesting little drama and tidbit about this year is the let me just take my overlay off so you guys can see it if you care. You probably don't. Okay, so the interesting tidbit about this is they released the workouts. You don't need video confirmation. You just need your affiliate manager and your judge to say, "Yep, you're good." You put them in the when you submit the score, everything's a-okay. They release the workouts 3 days before you can even technically you're supposed to do them. So people could be currently doing these workouts, and as long as they have a judge that they can put down for a name and an affiliate manager that will approve the score, um, they technically have a full week to do and redo these workouts. It is what it is. It doesn't matter to me. Again, quarterfinals is not the end all be all. The top 2,000 people out of shit, I mean, 30,000 men made quarterfinal. 30,000 men can technically sign up for quarterfinals with the 25% rule. The top 2,000 of however many sign up out of that 30K will make it to the online semis. We're going to be in that top 2,000. I'll have a better quarters finish than I will open. That's just how it works. It's a better test, less people. Um, I suspect I'll be somewhere in the top, in the 500-ish range in the world in the quarterfinals. So we're going to be just fine there. And then semis, again, we're not even sure if we're going to do those, what that's going to look like, blah, blah, blah. But these are the 4 workouts. And, for the first time in a long time, usually the open workouts come out, a lot of the quarterfinals workouts that come out, the semifinals, there's always, when you're playing this game, there's always that, oh, fuck, that's not very good for me. Oh, shit, I'm going to get worked on that one, right? All 4 of these workouts, man, for the first time and maybe ever, there's a stage of the season where I'm like, yeah, that whole test, I feel pretty good about it, and I'm not mad at it, right? We'll roll through them quickly and give some quick thoughts, and then we'll recap this next week when all this is over. But the first one here is just a quick up and down the mountain chipper. 10 50-foot shuttle runs, so 25 out, 25 back. That's one. You got 10 of those. Gonna grab the bar and do 20 overhead squats with 115, I believe that is. Yep. And then put that bar down and do 30 burpees laterally back and forth over the bar. When you're done with that 10, 20, 30, you rest 1 minute from that time. Rest 1 minute from there. At 60 seconds of rest, you can now start going back down the mountain and you just reverse the order. 30, 20, 10, finishing with 10 50-foot shuttle runs in a sprint workout is going to be interesting. Yeah, I ran a lot of shuttles in college. I don't know if they'll look the exact same as that, as those were on turf, but, I used to run 20-yard shuttles or 15-yard shuttles, which were I don't know, the sprint nature of this, it's gonna be fast, right? I think the best in the world are somewhere around 6 minutes on this, and that's with the rest minute in there. Uh, I think the first part for those who can't just all out go, which is, if you're not a games athlete, you probably have to take into account some of that fatigue in the first part as you work your way up the mountain. That's me. I'm not just gonna be able to just fucking hit the gas and just sprint. 1 minute will not be enough to recover and continue to move efficiently for another 60 reps after that. So, there will be some measured effort in that first 10, 20, 30. But it's pretty fast, man. Like 10, 50-foot shuttles. I think you just have to be diligent to start the workout on those. The 20 overhead squats have to be unbroken if you're any kind of competitive. And then 30 burpees over the bar, again, efficient, fast, slow is smooth, smooth is fast kind of deal. You rest that 1 minute, and then on the way back down, it is an absolute sprint. Like 30 burpees over the bar laterally is about a minute's worth of work, like 2 seconds a burpee. If you're going quick, you got to pick that bar up. 20 overhead squats is maybe another 40 seconds, 30 to 40 seconds. And then you're just sprinting 10 shuttles, which is less than a minute. It's like 2.5 minutes worth of work if you've got the gas to do it on the back end. It's really just how fast can you go on the first 10, 20, 30 to get that done. That'll be a fun test. We'll see. Bulk of that work, they're all pretty even, I guess. About a minute for each movement, technically, if you were just going to do them isolated. It's a lot of burpees, though. And when you have 20 overhead squats, that's going to fatigue the shoulders. We'll see what I have there, but I don't hate it, man. Overheads, I'd like, again, more weight, I guess. It's a different workout if you increase that bar, but I think they put it at 115, 80 for the women to be fast. So interesting. Shuttle runs, I'd never do, but you just got to practice them and make sure you touch behind the line and just go. Like it's, and this is the first workout they've ever really had with shuttle runs where sprinting, it's a 4-time thing. So there's going to be people are going to be running shuttles faster than we've ever seen. I'm worried for some ACLs, not mine, but some. Workout 2. Uh I'll rank these workouts order of confidence and how I feel about them at the end. This one is absolutely gonna blow. Um, and I suppose, like, I don't know, maybe is my worst one. I'm not really quite sure. Um, Straight up, the simplest shit you could have, which is always the worst workouts. You have 80 dumbbell hang squat cleans. That's with two 50-pound dumbbells and 40 bar muscle ups. 80 hang squat cleans with dumbbells, 40 bar muscle ups. You get to complete that 120 reps any way that you'd like. You could go 1 rep, or I guess, yeah, I mean, 2 reps. You could do, yeah, 40 sets of 2 and 1. You could do all 80 and then all 40. You could do all 40 and then all 80. You split it and partition it however you feel like. Good luck, right? Uh, and so strategy on this one is obviously, like, that's strategy is quite literally going to play the biggest role in how quickly you finish this. It's a 15-minute time cap. Again, like I just said, my bar muscle ups are about as good as they've ever been. I can't rip out a set of 20 and still feel good and jump back up and stuff. But being able to split this up is good for me. I think the best people in the world will do big sets on both to limit transition and just knock out, cycle speed. But for me, this is probably going to be at minimum like a five rounder of 8 and 16. Um, Maybe even starting with a big set of bar muscle ups to get those out of the way, something like 10 or 12 to start, and then go to the dumbbell and split it from there. So, I could do 10 or 12 bar muscle ups to chunk away at the beginning. Let's say I did 12 and there was 28 reps remaining. Could I then do, something like 8 sets of or 7 sets, 28 reps left on the bar muscle ups at that point would be 7 sets of 4. Sets of 4 are manageable on the bar under fatigue, right? Divide the dumbbell hang cleans by 7, you end up getting like 11 reps. You got to do 12 on a couple of those sets. That might be the way to do it. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Lot of That's probably the one with the most possibilities. You're like, I don't you just how fast can you do this? What's the fastest way? Who knows? Least least sure about this one. Just don't know where I'm going to go with that strategically yet. Workout 3. Fun little structure to this one, but it's just purely deadlifts and double unders. Double unders we did not see for the first time ever in the open this year. I've been putting in so much work, literally thousands and thousands of double unders over the last few months, and then they didn't show up in the open for the first time ever. Well, they saved them for the quarterfinals, and you have to be able to do them fast. You're going to start with 3 rounds of 50 dubs and 10 deads at 225. Once you do 3 rounds of that, you're going to put the 25s on, make that bar 275. You're going to do 2 rounds of 50 dubs and 10 deads at the higher weight, and then you're going to do one final round of 50 dubs and 10 deads at 315. So 300 total double unders, 30 deadlifts at 225, 20 deadlifts at 275, 10 deadlifts to finish the workout at 315. Again, for the best in the world, this is not heavy, right? It's pretty light. 60 deadlifts is not a ton. There was an open workout a couple of years ago that was like 100 deads at 225. This is 60 at, a little bit heavier on a few of those reps, but it's really not that bad. This is fast. You're talking, basically how good is your fatigue, right? How can you just go? Deadlift is a movement that spikes the heart rate. It's a full body movement. How well can you handle fatigue on those deads and maintain, rhythm on the double unders, breathing, and just work through this? This is super fast. A 4 to 5 minute workout, maybe for the best in the world, are just going to fly through this. For me, this might be a little bit of damage control. Again, deadlift has historically not been my thing. I've gotten significantly stronger at it, more than anything in the past couple years. But double unders have historically really not been my thing. There's 300 here, 300 where you have to go fast and do them under fatigue. So we'll see what we can do here. There's not a lot of strategy though. Like even for the middle of the pack people, which I don't consider myself, I'm like a second or third tier athlete. This is unbroken. It's sets of 10 deadlifts. Maybe that last round, if you're really struggling, is like a 6. I hope it's just like a 6-4 at worst. Quick break, but it's a sprint. This is a sprint. The last one is a sprint, or the first one is a sprint. That last one is a little longer. 40 bar muscle ups and 80 squat cleans. That's going to take a while. And then finally, workout number 4, and this is the juicy one. It's fun when you get one down the middle, right? Again, just very simple. 1K row, it's 4 time. 1K row, 30 clean and jerks. 1K row, 30 strict handstand push-ups. I've done a lot of rowing. I'm a bigger-ish guy, over 200 pounds. That's helpful when you're a big guy and you can pull 30 clean and jerks. We love a bar. We love cleans. That weight is 135, so it's essentially a 1K row into Grace. For those who are familiar with your benchmark workouts, 1K into Grace into 1K into 30 strict handstand push-ups. My max set of strict handstand push-ups is close to 50. I think I've done in the 40s. Obviously, not going to probably have 30 after 2,000 meters of rowing and 30 clean and jerks. Probably not going to have 30 strict just to bang out, but that should be no more than 3 sets, hopefully 2 sets of like 20 and 10 right at the end of that thing. And there's really no strategy to this. Like, don't get trapped on the row. move methodically through the clean and jerks as fast as you can, and then burn through those strict handstand push-ups and finish. And I really like this one. This should be my best finish in all of the workouts, and it is the one I like the most. I would say number 1 with the burpees and the overhead squats and the shuttles probably will be my second best score, I would assume. And then it's going to be a battle to not fall down the leaderboard on the 40 bar muscle ups and the deadlift dub workout. So I like them. They're cool. We'll recap them next week. Not much more else to say. They're going to be fun to do. I'm going to have to do them I think at Reggie's gym. Because you have to be in an affiliate that's affiliated, and you got to have a judge and all this bullshit. But we'll figure it out. We'll come back next week and talk about it. Appreciate you guys joining me. Back from vacation. We are back to the grind. Hope you have a fantastic week.